Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is MrHurriicane, and today we are finally talking about Madden 22. This is the latest a Madden news cycle has ever started in my memory, as we're actually 2 months away from the early access version of Madden 22. Looks like the game is coming out in mid-August with an early access date of August 17th. Perhaps there's an even earlier date with like their EA Play or whatever it's called. There's just too many release dates. I don't know. I want to talk about some of the new stuff here we got from the trailer today and a couple of articles. Those that follow me know that I am a franchise player exclusively, so I'm not diving into other modes. I don't really know what's going on with those, but I'm a franchise player. I make franchise content. What you're seeing on screen is gameplay from my Texans franchise I do on my second channel, which I am mostly managing the team and watching games play out, making the players the true star of the show. Really enjoy playing that way. So let's talk about what's coming to Madden 22, because we didn't get much in 21. They did release some things during the game's life cycle, but they promised that there was going to be some great things coming to franchise mode this year. I don't really care for the Madden trailers every year, but this year's reveal trailer did show some screenshots from franchise mode. If you pull up the trailer, especially in 4K, and zoom in on some of these screenshots, you'll see there's actually some new stuff in franchise. And one of the first things that you'll spot here is that there are now offensive and defensive coordinators and a player personnel person. And there's skill trees for all three of these roles, along with your head coach, which reminds me a lot of NCAA 14. I really liked their coach tree mechanic, and it made your coaches and coordinators actually matter. So we don't know what all these talents are going to be. It looks like there are a bunch of them in the game, but the one they have highlighted is called Secret Remedy. It's for a head coach, and it looks like you can level up these talents. Level 1 for this one will increase XP gains for your free safeties and strong safeties by 10%. And the next tier, tier 2, same positions by 20%. And I've talked in my streams over the last couple of years about how I would implement coaching in the game. And this is exactly what I've talked about. Modifiers to benefit XP development at various positions. It looks like one of these trees is just for player growth, another one is for staff modifications. I can't wait to dive deeper into these talents and see how different you can actually make your coaches and coordinators. There is another screenshot that shows Bruce Arians in a what appears to be post-game press conference with dialogue options for talking about the pass game or the running game. And to me, I'm guessing this is very similar to like your bye week, when a veteran leader comes up and says, are we doing rest and relaxation or practice? I'm guessing this is along those lines, and there's going to be some benefit to choosing to focus on a passing game or a running game or whatever it is. But I'm very happy that there's going to be coordinators in the game, and they show a staff management page that shows all of your coaches. They don't have positional coaches, but head coach, OC, DC, and player personnel. You can fire your coordinators or your head coach. They all have their own talent tree, and you can actually select game day goals for them. So a lot more going into what you can do from this management side of things. And there's also a currency now in franchise mode, and this is staff points, which I'm guessing is going to be how you unlock new parts of the tree and new skills to work on developing, which will allow it to go a lot deeper than the very basic coach XP that exists in the game now, where you do get some XP benefits for various positions, but if you play for a few years, you'll pretty much have everything unlocked, and it's been very basic and the same for a number of years. Judging by the screenshots, that coach XP has been replaced by staff points, and this system looks like it'll be a lot better. For the player personnel role, it looks like that's just basically the GM role, scouting, contracts, and trades. There's talents for all three of those categories, and there's a spot for scouting assignments. I'm going to go through a lot of different information today, but they haven't really talked about scouting other than there's going to be an update in September for scouting. So I'm imagining it might be pretty bare bones when the game launches, but hopefully that update comes quick. But more of these screenshots from the trailer. There are going to be game plans that you can focus on, which is another thing that I have wanted. Being able to set an offensive game plan and a defensive game plan that focuses on various parts of the game, and there are pros and cons. So there's one screenshot that shows they're choosing a blitz counter offensive game plan, and that's going to make the blockers more aware of the blitz. Double moves versus off coverage get a boost, and the con is defense reacts quicker to short passes. So there's a little bit of risk reward mechanic depending on what game plans you're deciding on, which I think is a welcome addition to the game. It's one of those things that sounds great. I want to see it in action, and if the mechanic really feels good. There's another one for throw it short that gives a boost to short route running, boosting double move fake outs versus off coverage, but the pocket will be collapsing faster, and maybe that's because there's more cut blocks or something in the throw it short. It depends how they implement some of these things. If it's just like the pocket's going to collapse faster because there has to be a con and it's overriding like pass block ratings, that's where I think like, okay, you're forcing the result a bit too much. This next screenshot though, I'm really excited about this feature. Manage player health. I have wanted this to be a deeper part of franchise for a long time. I'm interested in how deep they actually go with it, but you're able to manage your practice intensity for the week. You can choose to have full padded practices that'll give you the highest player XP and boosts, but there's a higher injury chance and less fatigue recovery. And I'm wondering if there's going to be injuries in practice, which existed in Madden or NFL Head Coach. I really enjoyed having to manage that, but I really like also that it shows that you can give reps at certain positions to starters. I imagine you can toggle that to be backups and get those players some more experience. I think about the potential with that. Imagine you have like a star running back on your team. He doesn't really need all the practice. You just want to manage his health and workload, and hopefully there's like fatigue and everything week to week. You could just give most of the carries in practice to the backups and develop them further. Like, that would be an awesome way to be able to build your team. And I love finding those undrafted running backs, and I want more ways to get them a little development. And this would be a very nice step for it. So, very excited about the managed player health feature. I just hope it has the depth that I'm looking for. There's one screenshot here showing a defensive game plan focus for a team going up against the Baltimore Ravens. And there are a lot of different options. You can focus on containing the quarterback's scramble, and that's going to give you increased contain, but a worse pass rush. And that is the trade-off that you'll see against teams that are trying to defend quarterbacks that may leave the pocket. It also makes the quarterback more accurate from the pocket. I'm not sure about some of the boosts like that, but I understand why they're doing these things. And in this game plan screen, it's showing that the Ravens are ranked 19th in offense, 32nd passing, but number 1 rushing, 7th in scoring. Some decent data here to show you what these teams are all about, which is nice, especially further into franchise as teams have more turnover. And there are some stats they share as well for Lamar Jackson. There are other game plans you can decide on, but every week you'll have a chance to choose how you want to approach a specific opponent. And they've also redesigned the entire main menu in franchise, so it will look a lot different. It looks like it's a better interface, be able to get to what you want to see faster. And it shows your matchup for that week, your goals for the week. Pretty basic stuff, but it looks like a solid redesign. Those are the primary takeaways from this trailer, and it's nice to see franchise acknowledged in one of these big trailers. Now, there's going to be more information coming out about all the individual modes. So Franchise is actually the one they're going to be talking about first, and that is going to be, it says, on the 21st of June. They're going to go over dynamic gameplay June 28th, Face of the Franchise 5th of July, and Superstar KO The Yard on the 12th of July, and EA Play Spotlight on the 19th of July. And then looks like Madden Ultimate Team information is August if you're interested in that. But there was more information to go through. An article came out today from Game Informer that talked more about what they're doing with the atmosphere of the stadiums. And that was kind of the focus of the trailer. But they are doing a lot of things that looks like trying to make stadium and home field environments more authentic and interesting. And one thing I love is that they're doing it through home field advantage. So let's go through some of that now. There are new crowd animations, remastered crowd recordings, and hero crowd characters to help make the spectators more believable and realistic. And home field advantage is actually going to give bonuses to the home team. I've wanted this for a really long time. I remember there was some home field elements, I believe, in NCAA, but I've been really wanting it in Madden. And one thing they talk about is in Denver, throws and kicks will fly further for both teams, but the visiting team will struggle to catch their breath, taking a hit to short-term stamina. Now, the Broncos actually have one of the league's top home field advantages the first month of the year, while everybody is still really getting into the best shape. I found an article from 2018 that says that during the first 2 weeks of the season, the Broncos are 49, 8, and 2 at home since the league merger. But the stamina effect here does make a lot of sense. There's also an effect in Chicago with all the wind there, harder to kick field goals straight. And then Vikings in Minnesota will get a red zone boost as the Skull chant rings through US Bank Stadium. And then 12th man of Seattle rattles visiting players, making it so their pre-snap play art is squiggly, which is obviously a feature from NCAA. And that game is about to turn 8 years old. Wow, that's been a long time. I'm really starting to get old. Anyway, there is a new game day momentum feature in the game. And this definitely existed back in NCAA, but I don't remember it as well. I think it was in some of the earlier NCAA titles, maybe in the mid to late 2000s. But now, in a game of Madden, there's going to be a game day momentum mechanic. And it'll appear at the top of the screen, and depending on performance of each team, the momentum will shift back and forth, granting additional bonuses called M factors, momentum factors, to these teams. Some of these factors include making kickers less accurate, making receivers less effective at running hot routes. And while each team can use M factors, the home team gets a slight advantage with one additional M factor with home field advantage. I've thought for a long time how I think home field advantage should be implemented, and I think that increased like false starts or offsides, the penalty factor makes some sense there. I also think about like mental mistakes, maybe like playing the wrong coverage or running the wrong route. Hopefully they go into more depth later about some more of the home field advantage factors. But having home field advantage in the game to me is a very good thing. Now this article also goes into franchise mode. Some of this I already talked about, but with developing your coaching staff, there are more than 60 different talents, and those all seem to be different skills that impact various parts of the game. And we should expect more talents to arrive following the launch of the game. It also mentions in the article here that you can set those game plans every week, but you can also make changes at halftime to your game plan, which will be nice to make those in-game adjustments. They mention that there are more engaging goals to complete with better rewards. New storylines emerge, complete with cinematics, choices to make. I wonder how deep that's really going to go, though. And then, through these sequences, you can earn staff points, player experience, or even dev traits. Okay. So trying to get some storylines in there. There are certainly ways to do it well. I just wonder if they'll have done much for that in the first iteration. And then in this article, it mentions that there is the first post-launch title update for franchise mode is targeted for September, which should allow us to dive deeper into player scouting with the ability to manage and assign national and regional scouts, which reminds me of like MLB The Show system a little bit, with players that gain and lose value on your draft board throughout the course of a season. I really want to see what they have done for scouting. The current system, we've had this for a few years, and it's been a few years too many. It's not a very good system, and almost anything would be more fun. I'm really hoping that they thought through what scouting should be like in Madden. Having regional scouts and players gaining and losing value sounds like a major step in the right direction, and I really can't wait to get into that. The next part talks a little bit about gameplay and them kind of expanding on the next-gen stats and what we see here in like the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions of the game. They're doing stuff with more route running and player speed data, but we'll just wait and see on gameplay. I do think that having played like Madden 20 still, because I have a deep franchise, and then going through my Texans on Madden 21, I do like the changes for the next gen gameplay. I thought at first it was a little weird feeling, just some of the players didn't feel as dynamic, but I mostly do watch CPU games, and I think the gameplay is better and the animations are much better. So I'm excited to see what this year's version is about. I've had a good time playing my Texans franchise. There's some mentioning here of star-driven AI, so they behave more like their real-world counterparts. I wonder what that really means. Quarterback decisions under pressure are now more reflective of real life, as are situations like passing on the run, making decisions under pressure, open field pathfinding, which has been a weakness for all EA football games really since the dawn of time. Just running backs picking the right angle, the right hole, and attacking outside properly. There's just so many things I can think of over the years of the CPU lacking in those areas. There's some more notes on the gameplay here, but I think it's more useful to wait and actually see gameplay than read about it a whole lot. So that will take us to the gridiron notes then. There's a few more things here on EA's website. And one very important thing, they have this thing they're calling Dynamic Game Day, which appears to encompass all the next-gen stats, all that AI, and the game day atmosphere. And that looks to be exclusive to PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. It does not look like PC is getting those benefits. Same with last gen, and for those of you playing on Stadia. PC being excluded there really surprises me, and definitely makes this likely the best experience played on a new console, whether it's the Xbox X or S or the PlayStation 5. Also in these gridiron notes, there's mentioning of 3 updates coming to franchise mode. The first one is about scouting. There are no details on the other ones. Looks like the yard is back with a challenge-based solo campaign. I didn't really mess around with the yard too much. There is Face of the Franchise. I'm kind of surprised this is still in the game, but they're continuing to do something with it. You can be a quarterback, receiver, running back, or for the first time ever, a linebacker. There's Superstar KO with a new co-op eliminator mode. But I think that just about covers the important stuff to me. I think there are some good things coming to franchise mode, definitely some features we've been wanting for a long time. Looking forward to being able to set game plans and manage health and hopefully have a good scouting system. And I just really want that new scouting system. Unfortunately, it won't be there at launch. But coaching staffs are back in the game. Can't call it a new feature. Madden 09 had offensive and defensive coordinators. I just did a series on Madden 09 last fall. But yeah, what do you think of the news? I think there's definitely a lot more to be excited about. Did not have fun talking about Madden 21 this time last year, but it looks like they are adding some things to franchise to make the mode better. Let me know what you think down below, and when there's more to talk about, and hopefully there is here in like 4 days with franchise mode, I'll be here to talk about it once again. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and if you want more Madden content, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.